represented by Donald J. Trump to correct a lot of the fallacies that has been taking place since 1861 and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, with the demonstration of the overthrow of the republic that had to do with the last vestiges of Moorish power at North America, in truth, and setting up bottomly instrumentalities for the theft and the transference of the estates of the true Americans into the hands of the operant members of the British accredited registry on behalf of the fake Queen of England, to be delivered to the Bishopric of Rome under the unum sanctum operations and the doctrine of discovery, etc., which is the problems that we're having now. And so what you'll see, the play acting out of them trying to get rid of Trump because he's interfered their operations. In other words, he didn't sell out. He's trying to help fix things. So you need to look at the real history to understand what's going on right now. Politically. Super conscious mind will help you in that area. You won't need to accept what I'm saying. You'll see it for yourself, because your third eye will start opening up. Those who are not already on the path, because many of you are already on the path. Matter of fact, many of you are already on the path, or you wouldn't be here with us at the House of Reawakening Minds if that were not so. Also, others who are trolling because they were already aware. They were already aware, truthfully, of the direction that this platform was going into or onto, ascending. So they were already put in place even before we started, because they knew anyway.
The question, from Enigma Scorpio. Can you speak about women fibroids and hysterectomies? I just want to, before you go, I want to say this too. I'm not sure if he's on this, on the call, on the chat. He may be, but I'm going to put up the banner for Dr. Botanica. Dr. Botanica wrote a book called Stealing a Woman's Treasure. And he knows, a lot. That's what he wrote about, all of the unnecessary hysterectomies and so forth that have been, performed on women, and largely a lot on our women. There is, of course,
they were the first and main targets. That must be understood. So when you're talking, and in the future, we'll probably, if we can, and you remind me, Dr. Naila, that we want to do some political analysis of the Roe versus Wade colorable legislation and its real function. But the real deal is that uterine fibroids is the natural, for the most part, is the manifest of the monad into the physical form outside of the spark of semen, meaning needing or not activated, or this is where an egg comes from fallopian tube, left or right, cycled with the moon, in harmony with nature, whereas the womb activates without the help of the male to generate or to bring life. Sometimes that is referred to as, quote unquote, the virgin birth. And the uterine fibroid is where, and this has much to do with both the intake of outside forces, i.e. improper food, stressful environment, etc., and other social operations, also state of mind of the woman, etc., whereas the activation of the champion seed, which that usually what it is, does not complete development and is locked on the wall of the womb. And it would be the Muslim, or what is known as the fetus or the Muslim undeveloped, because Muslim is not a belief system. Remember, it's the fetus. It's the muscles, the tissue, the bone and hair structure of the manifest temple of man, soul of man temple for traveling in the physical plane that attaches to the wall of the uterus and the birth canal, and does not fully formulate, but grows a little bit and then stops, having much to do with her energy, mental state. And it's usually by virtue of the fact of her state of mind and that the womb is not activated totally divinely, and therefore it does not totally manifest. That's usually the source of the fact of the uterine fibroid. However, from the position of the dark priesthood, that is valuable substance, because it is the more pure form of the gateway operations manifest, and that is highly valued for its genetic substance, for real. And so they always try. That's another reason why the dark priesthood always steals the placenta even when babies are manifest through, because that's also important.
That's the birthday cake.
That's the planet also.
Yeah, and the birthday cake.
Yeah, birthday cake, and also because of the genetic material. And of course, they use it to also do genetic studies in eugenics so that they can create both viruses, poisons, toxins, and other weaponized material to attack the real heirs of Midgard, to kill off people. That's used in those studies too, as well as still used. Most of the fibroids are used or stays in laboratory form. Some of the aborted babies are more used for the same purposes, but also still for food.
You know, I was thinking about,
and for cosmetics.
I was thinking about where I take Cat and Treasure to the groomer. He has hens, red hens. You know, I brought him some, and they lay eggs without the benefit of a rooster. But then there are some chickens that do have eggs that have been with a rooster, right?
Yeah.
So, but they make these with he has no rooster, and they lay maybe 3 or 4 dozen a week.
That's another thing that they don't want women, the hominidae, to know about themselves. And this is again why the priesthood often would always promote the psychology that the spirit realm has nothing to do with the physical. So just deal with the physical. There's a spirit realm itself. You seek to go there someday rather than recognize Hex Alpha or Ab, which is your pyramid up and your pyramid down in balance, known as Seal of Suleiman, or the emblem of the Moorish nation, which is actually yours, which is actually Saba, etc., and the relationship that symbol has with the knowledge of the use or the application use of the Ankh or the womb in bringing champions to earth in order to assist humanity with a knowing, as opposed to just from the urge or the sex urge in the cycle of reproduction, which is limited.
I'm going to read this comment from Moorish Alignment and Spirit. Dr. G. Taj, we have to stop giving them credit for being the dark priesthood. They are the light workers, and we are the real dark lords for everything.
Well, the deal of it is everything that came from us, didn't it? Aren't you the mothers and fathers of civilization and the human family? Aren't they a reflection of the lower self? Aren't they the shadow of the lower self? Aren't you responsible? However, the execution of darkness on the earth and the evils on the earth, whether they came from you or not, are being exercised or executed through the hybrids. Deny that. You can't. I'm not accrediting anyone. I'm just telling the politics like it is.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, we must go back to that state of mind of our ancient mothers and fathers, mustn't we? And stop playing victim, mustn't we? Which is also implied, and I appreciate that.
Well, when you talk about playing victim, when you think in terms of everybody,
you know, it's this tradition.
The world is a stage, and everybody's playing the part that a role that you pick for each lifetime. And so sometimes you're, you're the antagonist. Sometimes you're the protagonist. You just forget.
Come here and play the part.
Right. And I love what Mother Kai says. She's like, we're here to play. She said, so don't be so serious because we're all playing. We're playing acting.
We're all playing parts.
Right.
But
you need to have knowledge of that.
But I'm adding this. As humanity ascends, is it not the duty of the adeptus to share the ancient knowledge in a more simple form, that we can go through this journey with less suffering, and thus not creating more karma, so that the people don't have to keep going through these cycles?
Absolutely.
Because the lesson, meaning, at what point are we going to start demonstrating that we're learning our lessons? That's my point.
Like I said, I love this definition of ascension. Is simply the shift in consciousness from duality to oneness. It is the quantum leap from the evolutional spiral of duality to that of oneness. And that's what we're talking about. We are one. So we don't recognize our oneness. So we are like cancer in the body that starts to kill other parts of the body. So
the negative spirits among us who have been feeding on us, etc. This goes beyond just the things that we have done. Meaning that, you know what it's sort of like, Dr. Naila? Where some of the hybriding that the ancient Moabites and Lemurians did in Central America, in the Yucatan as an example, that created what is known as the Roman, etc. I think a lot of times we're looking at the reality of Yaqub, Cushitis, Israel, and those operations, and the 12 women scientists. You know, because most people keep looking at Yaqub.
Did Yaqub and these 12 women scientists?
The father.
No question. Let me ask you this question: Did they come from above? This is the issue. Many of the hybriding experiments that manifest the Roman, very few talk about the intersections of trade and communication with others off-world. That's always been with us. And this is where sometimes you hear in the ancient customs and myths about the 8-ball. The 8-ball is really symbolic of. You're talking about like in pool. Okay. Oh yeah, but that's a game of spears. But the 8-ball come about with that other part of interjection into the hybrid that wasn't necessarily with all of us part of the known experiment. Explain. This is why Yaqub is also referred to as the father of the devil, because it's that interjection that is manifest that we've been dealing with. So meaning that part of the experiment was not part of the plan. The 8-ball part wasn't. Beyond the 7. I'll leave it at that. You're dealing with that. Don't act like you're not. Those of you who are addicts. Circle 7. I'm not excusing that. I'm just talking about it. When you say beyond the 7, you're talking about beyond the circle 7. 7, okay. Because the 7 is our culture. The 7 is the 7 ruling planets in this particular solar system. But some came from outside and some deals were made. And not only then, but also as of late in 54, that the hybrids who were descendants of the experiments also made some deals that gave them some more powers. That's part of our problem now. Like don't you? For some of you know that, some don't. My particular interest is more in the area of getting our people thinking again and starting to take responsibility, because I already know that the codes of the energies is within us all. And all of you have a piece of it. And stop looking for sacrificial lambs. That's not where your redemption is coming from. It's going to come via, with us, at least on the corporal level, aided by the incorporeal level, via the supra-conscious mind as a tool.
thus isonomy.
Isonomy.
Isonomy is that symbol that they refer to as Jesus' carpenter's tool. And you'll see the compass and the square.
Yeah.
And the compass and the square is symbolized in the very shape of hexalpha or ab, which is your pyramid up, your pyramid down. And it is also the principle by which we navigate both the land and the sea. Also from which is adopted the instrument you know as the sextant, which we navigate the waters, as well as the land. And this is where law comes from: land, air, and water. So the law is really divine, but we've gotten off it, haven't we? So when you're talking about the carpenter's tools of justice, and Jesus was a carpenter, it means more than what people think it means.
I thought it was interesting hearing the sister of the woman that channeled and said that, you know, Jesus, one of the character one know as Jesus was
symbolic.
Symbolic was it? But she gave him real present as an extra terrestrial, what we would call an extraterrestrial.
I know.
Right.
I kind of know, but in fact, Jesus is more anthropomorphic, and in the sense that has been told to people, it wasn't a Jesus in the sense that they had been told.
I think she's more talking like the
story of the dynamics of the sun, the transits of the sun, a body of cycle of millennia of communications of outer and inner world, etc., and the nature of our organic ascension. However, there kind of it's not exactly a single being, truthfully. But you can express it as multiple beings that have come and gone,
right? Like
or teachers, or what you would
call the Emerald Tablets, the various ones that have come.
That is also Jesus.
Yeah, they're all of them. Yeah,
they're recycled.
Right.
Not unlike they removed from the Bible, as an example, Fatima and Muhammad. People think it's just in the Quran. That was also in the Bible. That's why they don't show you the older Bibles. But it's not the way that people have been presented with it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And those of you who are really scholars will begin to find that. And a lot of that information will be revealed to you too. But it's sort of like some of these things that will be coming out are just for your information, because you will find that you're actually far past that. You know how like sometimes, Dr. Nalia, we will always tell people over the years, a lot of things that we're doing now we'll not be doing later. Right. But it's necessary for us to go through the exercise. But that's only to kind of like grease, as they would say, the machinery of the mind, or to get us rolling, so that when a lot of the ancient biological and mechanical tech or alchemy and technology is reintroduced in society little at a time, that people can handle it responsibly. Truthfully, that's what's up. And the real deal is, now that the earth is going through the Futon belt, the dark priesthood is trying to use it for a negative. You get the whole point? Mm-hmm. But actually, it is also a liberating position. So wherever we are in our evolutionary scale of the mind, of man is mind, we can go negative or positive. We're sort of like at an axis point for the development of humanity. You can either evolve or become fodder.
And it's important to some that we stay distracted.
That we stay positive.
No, I'm talking about on the negative side. Yeah. They want us to be distracted. So yes,
And also that's why they spend so much time trying to devour us, if you get the point. Also, with the nanobots and stuff that they've been doing with the chemtrails and through the food that the people call GMOs, etc. Mm-hmm. Also, for those who really kind of know some of this stuff, you can get some of it off you a little bit, because remember, Because when we think about the organs, right, we're usually thinking about, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the intestines, the kidney, the liver, etc. And forget that the biggest organ is the skin. It's another reason why the dark priesthood have been doing chemtrails and putting bacteria and nanobots in it with technology that they have found out with back engineering in order to control or change the DNA in order to limit or constrict the evolutionary operations that's going to take place naturally anyway, but so that they can claim Midgard, claim the earth. For some of you, keep in mind that many of the grasses that are around with you that we feed to animals, alfalfa and some of the other grasses, like dandelion, etc., can be put in your bath water when you soak in your bath water and use the ion removing substances like in some laundry detergents, a little bit in your bath water with those grasses of alfalfa and dandelion, and that'll clear some of the those nanobots off. Clean the tub after you take the bath. That's the truth. That'll help some who know and some who haven't studied. That'll help.
Is there any reversal for anybody who has, for some reason, because it was for their
internally, the nanobots
have taken the V, or I like what Kevin Berenger calls it, they did the hokey pokey, and so now, is there anything to reverse that? I mean, there are people who most people, before you answer, most people in the chat are conscious enough not to, but they have family, kinfolk, that loved ones, seniors that have been convinced.
There's a duality of operations going on with all of this. Don't look at it from an emotional perspective, but just look at it from a intuitive perspective. You know how the Bible says, if your right arm offend you, cut it off?
Yes.
What it means is don't let people put their spirit on you, and also don't take it too personal, the choices that people make. Because some will meet their demise because they believed in Rome and refused to give up Rome, so they trust Rome still, when enough evidence has been put in place that they long ago, generations ago, should have been able to read Rome and stop agreeing with Rome. So some will suffer because they do. However, unless the being is willing to honestly begin to open up, meaning become open-minded, they'll say, because when they say the statement open-minded, that means starting to trust your gut brain. You will receive information because there's always been what you call counter or antidotes to undo some of the things that have been done to you internally. And the divine or the cosmic mother, or we refer to Allah, all universal law, will always bring beings here and give them keys to how to undo some of the things of the dark priesthood. So know that much too. And if you want to know, just want to know honestly and sincerely, it'll come to you anyway. You don't have, if you seek the truth will find you. Put it that way. Yes, yes, yes. There are remedies to undo. However, and that's not with a negative qualification, it's just the truth. You already know when you begin to tell openly some of the truths that they will start shutting down with expurgatorius, so that you will, in other words, they will attack anyone that starts trying to free humanity.
Yeah, I just got received information on something that does that, but it doesn't say that, and I wouldn't publicly even say anything about it because I don't want it to be shut down. But
however, Yes, seek and you will find.
Yeah. So.
And those of you on the path, you already know you're on the path anyway. You're in the direction, so it's going to come to you anyway.
I mean, we get, because we know, yeah, we know. But I'm saying, like, my son told me that my granddaughter took it, and she'll be 19 next because to get a job at a hospital. So I was, but but
yeah, hospice.
They don't pay attention.
Job at hospice.
Yeah. I mean,
again, this is why it says if right on what you mean, don't take it too personal.
Yeah, it can't.
Because every man, every woman, and child is responsible. Even children are responsible because you're talking to spirit man. You're not talking to the body. You're talking to spirit man. No one gets past this. No one. And know this, with all sincerely, humbly, we're only trying to help. We're not trying to judge. We're not trying to condemn. We're only sharing information. And particularly for those who have been artificially constricted from this knowledge to understand that and comprehend and overstand and understand that it's within, i.e., cranial brain, heart brain, stomach, gut brain, reactivated and connected cognitively, supraliminal, Christ degree. Understand also, the dismantlement is already in progress. There's still a lot of work to do, though. But don't get confident. Don't get arrogant. Don't be selfish.
Someone asked, can we drink dandelion tea? Would that help?
Absolutely.
It won't hurt.
That's one of your... Why do you think they've been killing it?
Calling it a weed.
It's one of your most potent and common, what you would call biological anti-blocking helps. That's why it grows on your lawn, in your yard, by the trees. And that's why they've been doing what they call rounding up anything that's good. That's why they call the chemical killer Roundup.
And it does a twofer. It not only kills it, it'll kill you.
And it kills the bees too.
And it can kill you.
The bees. So now we got another lesson, birds and bees, don't we? Both metaphysically as well as what? Agricultural. To feed humanity. Right. If you think these demons ain't dark, you really underestimate them. And if you think that it's not necessary for you to know some of these things, you're still underestimating what's going on at Midgard.
I will also add, that thing that's running across the screen right now, just talking about the scanner, does have some faculties in it that help with the things that we're talking about without me. It will educate you.
Yes. So, we're all conscious of expurgatorius and prohibitorum. We are. And so we're encouraging you to take responsibility for yourselves, for your lives, particularly and proudly and honorably. I respect and give honor to the women that are taking a stand to protect their children. More power to you.
Most definitely. And I was with a sister. She was just on my show, and with Sister Abundance. Now her daughters are, I think, 19 and 25, maybe. Never had vaccinations. Never had problems. Or maybe I should say V's. I mean, no, excuse me. In the eye, they call them immunizations, right? So a lot of things
the hokey pokey.
Yeah, the hokey pokey. A lot of things that we subjected ourselves to is because we were convinced that they were necessary. I'm going to say
on them eugenics operations.
Right, but I'm going to say this, and I'm trying to figure out a way to say it because I don't want to cause any, disruption to the channel. But I'm just going to put this out there. Going forward, if one has taken the, I'm going to say the F shot, the seasonal F shot. You know what that is, and it starts with a F and ends with a U. If you've taken that, I really had a strong download, Grand Sheik, that going forward, they're going to put the other thing in
the demon serum, called the demon serum.
Well, what I'm saying is for those who were reluctant to take the hokey pokey.
That is one of the marks of the beast.
It's going to be put in the flu shot.
That is one of the marks of the beast.
I don't get flu
shots. Did you notice that, like, when people look at the Septuaginta or the Bible and it says people will not be allowed to buy or sell
without the mark,
or the number of the beast? You ever notice that they put a number
on their
to
patent it?
Yes. And it marks people. Did you notice that around the world, where every institution that was prior to these operations, with many people who by the year gave blood to certain organizations, you notice that they're chasing out all people and not accepting anyone who took the demon serum and not accepting their plasma. They are now incubators. Consider that, and consider why that if they're doing that, and there are many from that same order, that something's wrong and not good.
Bernard Taylor's given a lot of uses for dandelion. Got take the dandelion heads and fry it in tempura batter. Delicious. And he's got, I think, making a jelly and a couple of other things with it. Apparently, dandelion jelly, wine, and medicine, etc. I mean, what thing you do? Look out. Normally, if you look right outside of where you domicile, you're going to see whatever so-called weed that is very healthy for you. And it's not a weed, but they're called a weed.
That's just to give it a negative. Because remember, anything that helps, they give a negative. A weed is not negative. But they will always give a negative because remember, they not only don't want humanity to think for themselves, they also want to disconnect you from nature. And one of their operations, dedicatedly, is to counter nature. Keep that in mind. Don't get mad, get wise.
Hey, Tosh and Dr. G, do you guys know or hear about our new currency, Lumi? I don't know.
Let's keep this in mind. You can give us notes and share, but keep in mind currency